What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. I hope you guys are all doing well while we in America seem to be going under a quarantine. It's weird to say. Anyway, hope you guys are checking out all our sponsors. The Fast Life Podcast is brought to you by the one and only Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. Do yourself a favor and head on over to simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com to check out all the models, finishes, and visor options and get yourself dialed in with one of the best helmets on the market. They are the best. Fuck what you think. BoosterBrad.com is the spot to find some kick-ass products for your motorcycle. Brad has a product for any budget, from pegs to risers and everything in between. Check out all the products and get yourself some cool swag while you're on his website, BoostedBrad.com, and use FastLife at checkout to save yourself 5% off. And give Boosted Brad a follow on Instagram at what? Boosted Brad. That's right. I want to thank John Jessup for his 1 year supporting this podcast this month as a sponsor. And as always, you guys can check out Dream Rides, which is the spot if you're looking to have anything done to your Harley Davidson. His shop in Stockton, California is a spot for in-house dyno tuning, parts, service, bike sales, and, high fives. And if nothing else, head on over to teamdreamrides.com, which is offering 100 days same as cash financing on all products. All you need is a job and a bank account. And don't forget to give John and the team a follow at DreamRidesJohn on Instagram. My guys over at Lex Moto is growing fast and looking to onboard new dealers in 2020. So whether you're a small independent shop or a 20,000 square foot mega store, Lex Moto has a partnership that will work for you. With awesome new gear and more on the way, Lexan offers very competitive dealer margins, fast shipping, and great customer service. Email them at sales@lexanmotorcycle.com and be sure to check them out on Facebook at Lexan Moto USA and on Instagram at Lexan Moto. And don't forget, you can use offer code FASTLIFE at checkout and save yourself 15% off on their website, lexan-moto.com. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is killing the paint game with tons of great flakes, pearls, and other paint-related products. We use them for everything that we can here in this shop, and you should too. Check out painthuffer.com to see the vast amount of color options and get yourself stocked up with tape and other items needed in the custom paint process. And don't forget to use FastLife13 at checkout to save yourself 10% off. And as always, give them a follow on Instagram under Paint Huffer Metal Flake. Daytona's over. I don't know if the motorcycle season's over, or maybe we're just going to have an extended winter getting our bikes ready for this great summer we're going to have. In the meantime, you guys need to check out ThunderMax computer systems, EFI systems. I don't know how to say it right. Anyway, check them out. They make some great products. I run their computers on my bike and have been since 2012 on my EFI-equipped bikes. So you're running a Harley Davidson, you want to get it tuned, don't have a tuner in sight, don't know where to go. ThunderMax has a standalone tuning system. You plug it up, dial it in, and it does everything for you. So you add a new cam, you add a big bore kit, you put a new throttle body on it. All you got to do is make an adjustment in your computer, your laptop at home, and it does it all for you. Best product, in my opinion, for your bike. Check them out. ShopTmax.com and follow ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. I also want to thank the guys over at Big Bear Performance for supporting this podcast over this last year. Kevin himself is the one who tuned my suspension for me, my Olin suspension. And I'm telling you guys, it is the best shit on the market. And I'm torn because as somebody that rides lots of bikes, or I ride my bike a lot, let's just say that, I want to try other suspensions, but I just don't know if I can. I don't know if there's something better. I really don't. And I just don't even know I don't even know what to say. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, this is a little wonky this morning, but it's a weird world we're in right now. So check out Big Bear Performance. They are the leaders in Olin suspension sales, service, and tuning. Big Bear Performance also has tons of other products for your Harley Davidson. Just check them out. See what they got for you, from body parts to engine parts. They got it all. Check them out, bigbearperformance.com, and you can always give Kevin a call and get the info and answers for your motorcycles upgrades at 909-479-7788. And as of now, the Fast Life Campout is still going down. I know that they canceled Arizona Bike Week. They postponed Texas Time Traveler Show, which was the replacement for Giddy Up. They've shut down Mama tried last weekend, and I don't know, man. It's a weird world we're in right now. It's really hard to even know what's real or not. Like, you get on your phone or you try to watch something on the news, and it's just a wonky shit show of how do you know what's real and what's fake? What's real is that I got 2 more rolls of toilet paper in my fucking bathroom at the shop and at home, and I've been eating Mexican food every day, so I'm getting a little worried here. So I'm really concerned. I don't know. It just sucks, man. And I hope all you guys in the bigger cities, you LA, New York, Chicago guys out there, San Francisco, that, you're doing well. You don't catch this shit. Nobody in your family does, especially the elderly. And hopefully this stuff will pass, and our government will get on ball and, make things better. So anyway, it's enough about that. This podcast is with a good buddy of mine. We actually just met back in January. I think we've been following each other for a while, and he's a video producer, shooter. He does all kinds of shit for the motorsports video industry. So really good connection to have. He's been a big help in me trying to dial in all our camera equipment for the video stuff that we're in the process of trying to do. And he's a biker, so that's a plus. He's also a boater too, but I'm not gonna hold that against him. But he does have a bike, so he's still cool to me. So anyway, here's Zach. It's Zach. Just check him out. Hey, Zach. What's up?
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Now is literally at 2 o'clock in the morning versus 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone's busy. 2 o'clock in the morning, everyone's feet up and they're about falling over at that point,
I like how professional I am. I just hit record. The worst, man. But no, we were doing live. But I was recording the audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's what's kind of crazy about all this shit, man. Like, I guess what I look at, not to sound like woe is me or anything, but you look at these kids, if they are smart enough, then they are picking it up at 13, and then they have 7-8 years to do this stuff without the real responsibilities of an adult to kind of hinder your ability to do things.
Yeah,
it's like they get to go after school. Hey, let's go film. You doing a kickflip and shit like that, and they get used to that shit. And that's what's kind of wondering about, like, the connection between all the skateboarders and the BMXers and all these people of the 90s and stuff. They were running around carrying those old fucking cameras and shit. Like, what did those guys evolve into? Like, where are they at now?
A lot of those guys are still carrying those cameras. I had someone hit me up to buy one just the other day. I'll give you $50 so I can put it on my shelf. Just for the nostalgia of it. So yeah, I never had that badass camera. I was never that guy. I was shooting that stuff with POV cameras at the time, and again, the wake up and someone hands you a camera, that was literally like kind of where it started. I knew the gist. I knew how to cut something together, this and that, but someone really just took the time and acknowledged my hustle and gave me a shot. And I proved myself right then and there that, like, I was there to get the job done.
Yeah, take it seriously,
but have a good time.
Yeah,
we got done, and next thing you know, you're cracking them open, and everyone's having a good time for the next 4 or 5 hours. And
it's gotta be stressful, especially when you're doing live shit, right?
Yeah, live is crazy. The whole shit's crazy. You have one shot to do it. Commercials, I can set it up and I can make these people work for the next 12 hours and set it up till I get the shot. When it's live, you got to be there and you got to be on point. And so I learned on live before I learned, the other shit. Yeah. So I was like already over the fact to where, like, you have to be here and you have to get that spot right away. You don't have the time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so, that's the way everything is now. Like, a lot of people overshoot and have all this footage that they have to go through when they're home, but, like, ain't nobody got time to go through that much shit. So you take your time and you find your spot. I'll leave my camera, stand there, and I'll walk a circle and find the spot and check it out. And I'll take my time. The trucks might pass or the cars might pass and I'm not shooting them, but that's okay, because when I'm ready, it's going to be something rad at that point.
Yeah. You're just finding your right spots and things like that.
Yeah, instead of overshooting it, getting too much shit going on, like, nobody's got time to watch. Like, when you were talking about your GoPro stuff, I was like, don't let that shit run for the next hour and a half. You're going to hate trying to find that clip.
That's one thing too, man. Like, I guess that's also like when you start trying to get into films or doing like videos, and you're trying to just get it dialed, and like you have an idea. Like I've watched so many YouTube videos, I've watched so many videos. Period. I have a idea of what I want to do, but then when you think of what you have to do to create the video, it feels dishonest, right? That's biggest
TV. That's TV.
That's what I mean. I was just talking to Adam Sandoval about it, and I mean no disrespect to the people of the world that do those videos and create that content, but it's just so hard to not like walk up like, sorry guys, like this is fake, but hey, how you doing to YouTube?
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to be that, like, because when you like, as people start to know behind the scenes of creating certain things, especially YouTube,
right,
it's like, you know that dude is acting,
right,
you know, but I get it, that because like for me to talk well and to speak clearly, I'm acting, motherfucker, because I can't talk that nice.
Well, and that's why this podcast deal is such a good job for you, because we're sitting here bullshitting and having a good ass time. As soon as you put that camera in front of your face, you're just like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's what I look like to everybody in the world. Yeah, fuck, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah. I can't do that stuff. The YouTube and all that. Like, I'll create a cool little montage deal for my friends or something, but otherwise it's all promo stuff and it's all TV stuff. You know, it's. I don't have a channel. I don't create for a channel. The people, YouTubers, that's their full-time job, and they work more than I do. You know, and they're hustling to get that stuff out. But you know, there's a place for everyone. Yeah, they're there for a reason, and I'm here on this end of things for a reason. You know, there's a reason why it'll be Porsche and Michelin and you know, the big name series and stuff versus Joe's Crab Shack on the corner and where you're about to do a burnout.
I don't know what's going on. I think the stream's kind of fucked up right now. Dude, this stuff, it's like slowly been like working great and then slowly working down to shit. You might have to turn your internet off. I think that might be the fucking thing.
Well, let's get that out of here.
It's fucking crazy. I need to get like a really fucking massive internet thing for this and make sure it's going nice, but oh man, it's stressful. I don't know if it's working. I think it's working.
Maybe someone else that hits you up for a paint job will know more about Wi-Fi.
No, I need a Wi-Fi connect now. Man, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I've been kind of looking. And I think I was telling you about it, it's like the paint stuff, man. Like I love it, man. I really love it. It's brought me everything in life.
Yeah, for sure.
It really has.
I love seeing it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but it's like at the cost of your health, you know. And I hate to try to like put that into people's heads that like, oh, you're gonna die if you go airbrush and stuff. But I mean, I'm knocking on 40's door, dude. Like that sounds like a good Bret Michaels song for like 15 years ago, right? Knock, knock, knocking on 40's door, some shit, right? I don't know if he sung that or whatnot, but anyway, man. I'm starting to see like health become an issue in my older family's life, in my friends' family's life, and just period. And I'm like, fuck, man, like I know, you know, the 30s are supposed to be a lot of things, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I feel like I've been sitting here airbrushing this close to my face and just soaking up airbrush fumes for 15 years now. Like I've never smoked a cigarette in my life ever. Yeah. Right. But I feel like I'll die of lung cancer before a cigarette guy was. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Yeah. Or I'm also scared of the fact of like finally figuring out life. Right. You know, finally, you know, creating like whatever is gonna be that I create, right?
That you're chasing right now. Whatever
finally hit it. I finally get to buy that dream car, you know, which for me is a R34 Skyline.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
okay.
Then you finally get this stuff, and then bam, like health comes into play. Like, all right, got you, bitch. You know what I mean?
Got you, bitch.
Like that's exactly how I feel like the book of Jace can only be written. You know what I mean? It's like. On my mom's side of the family, their last name is Jackson, and we've always said we had this Jackson curse. We're all talented, hardworking individuals that never quite made a name for ourselves. You know, it's like, oh, we're the best at what we do, but we don't know how to sell it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're working hard on it now, and
I appreciate that.
I think it's proven to be forward on that whole situation. I mean, you got a great following here. Your following is how, you know, I got old, you know. I seen your shit, and I was like, that shit's dope.
I appreciate
it. So I reached out, this and that, and just started talking since then. And so, and I know it's not just me, and I go on the feed and I'm seeing what's going on, and like you're getting love from all over the place. So, as for the selling it aspect, I think the curse may have been lifted, because
I hope so.
the shop's pretty rad. You got a cool spot going on, and the work has proven itself for sure.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a little shithole town here in Dallas, Texas, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just different every year. Like, you know, I think I made a post yesterday about how, like, when I first started doing this podcast stuff, man, I had no idea what I wanted out of it. I just, you know, my friend said, hey, dude, you talk a lot, man. Maybe you should, like, put a microphone on and, like, ask people questions.
Yeah.
And, you know, as the podcast kind of started from the beginning, it was, I mean, I had guests on that made the podcast good. It wasn't from anything I've done.
Yeah, you're putting rad people on the spot almost daily at this point.
I was able to use my connections through paint and working on bikes to bring on people that, you know, people want to listen to. And then in that time, I've kind of gotten better. I feel confident in my skills of getting better, but I still know that there's a long hill ahead or mountain ahead. But looking back and going like, fuck, man, like this room, my shop was a shithole. I hated this place. I never wanted to be in this shop. I fell into it, had to stick here just because the rent was a good price and it had everything I needed. It was necessities, right? And then right after SEMA last year, man, I just got this wild hair off my ass about building this thing up here and then turning this place into what it is now. And now I fucking love this place.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And it's like, I mean, dude, my wife's gonna be pissed. We fucked right here like 4 days ago, dude. It's a good time, man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I built a place that is a dope, good time, you know. And part of me, and I'm a very sentimental guy, and the part of me is like, fuck, man. Like, I didn't know this is what I wanted 2 years ago, but I'm really stoked where I'm at now.
Yeah, for sure. And that shit evolves every single year and every single day, you know. Goals and dreams change on a daily basis. A couple of weeks ago, I was dead set on getting a bag C10, and then a couple days later, I looked at this house on the lake, and I was like, why would I spend my money on a bag truck when I can go get a lake house instead, you know?
Yeah.
And so all that kind of stuff evolves. Now, don't get me wrong, you catch me in that new house with a bag C10 here soon enough. But
figured out.
Yeah, we'll figure them both out. But the saying goes, you know, it's built, not bought. Yeah. And you weren't stoked on your environment, so you created one that you were stoked in, you know. And the built, not bought doesn't only come around a car with a fast engine. You bought a car that someone else put a turbo on or whatever, like that's bought, not built. But the built, not bought saying goes for your entire life. You know, the relationship with me and my wife started 13 years ago. Was it perfect? Hell no. You know, but we figured each other out off of, you know, odds and ends and this and that. And, you know, that relationship is now built, not bought. Yeah. We created a relationship for ourselves that we wanted, you know, to be involved with. Our environment that we live in, the people we communicate with, hang around, that's built, not bought. Those are the people you trust and you bring around and stuff. And you're saying this little shithole town south of Dallas, but at the end of the day, like, if this is the community that you're putting your time and efforts to, like, who cares where it's at? Who cares what it's called, this and that? Mm-hmm. If you have the people, you know, that you want around to create the environment you want to be in, like, doesn't matter where it's at, unless it is, in fact, in Wisconsin and you don't get to travel during the winter like I do and you're stuck there, then screw that. But
you got to be like the only guy in Wisconsin with a upbeat attitude all year round because you get to see the sun.
Dude, I'm literally seeing it on Facebook posts, all the homies, this and that. Everyone's starting to turn into like little whiny bitches and getting all like touchy, you know. Cunty. Yeah, but it's cabin fever, dude. Like, you can't go outside and hang out, garage door open and the girl smoking, like, shit, man, you know.
Do like hot tubs a lot up there? Do the hot tubs freeze over?
That's not a bad question, though. But no, hot tubs are rad. I like hot tubs. I got a homie. Actually, he texted me. He told me to give him a shout out. It's a perfect time. Corey. 2 middle names, John Charles Kutrick. It's fucking weirdest, longest name ever.
I dig it.
But he bought a hot tub, right? And first he bought this shitty like little blow up hot tub, and like first night I'm getting Snapchats like him and his lady and her friends pulling their titties out, and I was like, okay, well that's cool. And then they like popped it like right away. He's like, fuck hot tubs. But then he like literally a week later went and bought an actual hot tub, and then again sends me these snaps. He's like, do you need a hot tub? And I'm like, I got a boat, so that's like pretty rad, you know, but like a hot tub would be sick.
A hot tub would be so much cheaper to keep it all. Do you keep the boat like on your property or do you keep it?
Yeah, you got trailer it every time.
Yeah.
We're on the lake, but we don't have lake access, so that's why we're looking at a lake house, just so it's just parked right there, go out, party, come back, that's it.
Yeah, y'all post a lot of pictures partying on the lake.
Hell yeah.
You utilize that very well. So.
You have to, dude. You know, and that's what kind of what winged me out of the drifting stuff was like I can't take my drift car to the track on a Tuesday, but I can go hit the chain any Tuesday of the week, any Tuesday of the week, any day of the week, any Tuesday, whatever. You get what I'm saying, yeah. But so the lake's open every single day. Nobody's shutting that shit down.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what it is that people like find to do, because you would never think like the lake would be like a choice for a lot of folks, but it's not like they don't sell boats in the rest of the country, right?
Right. What's real cool in our, you know, you get a nice day. I seen, you know, it was nice this past Sunday, and just via the posts and stuff, I was out in Vegas and it was nice back home. Sun's out, people are in their t-shirts. It's like 38 degrees. That's t-shirt weather in the middle of the winter for us, you know? Yeah. And but you can drive down the street and you know, you guys are playing cornhole in your shop here, but you know, you go down one block and you'll see at least 3 sets of those pulled out on the sidewalk, and like people with their fold out tables in their front yard, and like you know, it's so wholesome at that point where you're just cruising around and you can literally just stop, pull over and just be like, hey, you guys got a beer? Not know who they are. And you know, you'll sit there and help them finish their cooler. Like, doesn't matter who they are, where it's at, this and that. Like,
and this is in
Wisconsin. The entire set, like, you know, it's just rad. Like,
so y'all kind of have like a little bit of Canadian genes in you, right? Where you're kind of like super nice.
Well, it's called the Midwest hospitality. You know, like your community is small, and you never know the guy you were a dickhead to yesterday was going to be your dentist today.
Yeah.
You know, and you never knew you were going to get stuck in your driveway, but you didn't want to go and egg your neighbor's house because they're the only people there to pull you out, sort of thing, you know.
4x4.
Yeah, so like you got to stay tight because you never know when you're going to need the person next to you.
I feel like Dallas is like the southern border of the Midwest, you know, hospitality thing, because I don't feel like we have the southern hospitality.
Yeah.
But we're much more like which it's hard to say, because like in the bike scene and the motorcycle scene, like everybody's super rad, super chill, super
right, and
super
that's
open, and like, hey, come, I got a couch you can crash on, all that type of shit. Well, and at the same time, like, you know, like I find myself more eager to be nice to strangers than I am to my closest family. So.
I feel you there. And on the post today, you know, I use the hashtag blood don't make family.
Yeah.
You know, people that you barely know can be some of the people that are closest to you down the road. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's 100% true statement, you know, but I struggle with the idea a lot, because I think that a lot of, I don't struggle with that idea. I completely agree, but I feel like a lot of my best relationships and friendships in the past have always kind of steamed out of a little bit of convenience in like the settings. You know, like if you get like if all of a sudden me and you got forced to be together, you know, through work or through something that we're both being kind of put on the same path,
right?
Naturally, we would create, you know, through you know, mutual respect for what we both do, that we would create a friendship and a bond.
I mean, arguably, you can say that's exactly, you know, how it's gone.
Yeah.
To this point,
exactly. So, and I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like, But it doesn't mean, the weird part is like, yeah, so me and you have probably texted quite a bit over the last, month since,
past 2-3 months or
yeah.
so.
And then I look at people that I've known for fucking 10 years that I haven't texted in 3 months or 6 months.
For sure.
I don't necessarily feel bad about it, but it's also one of those deals. It's like some of those dudes make me feel bad for not doing it, and some are like, "Oh, dude, I was just thinking about you, man. I'm glad you called. I was gonna call you or
sure,
whatever." And then we catch back up, and everything's fucking kosher. And shit
no, that's the way it's supposed to be. If anyone's gonna make it seem inconvenient for you to wait until it's convenient, like, yo, we're all fucking adults, dude.
Yeah,
we got shit we gotta do. Stuff comes up. If you can't show up, you can't show up. But when you do, you got to make the most of it. You can't sit and like dwell on the bullshit that went down, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, best man at my wedding, I don't think I seen him for like 6 months this summer. I was so busy. I'd roll through town and I'd swing by his tattoo shop. They wouldn't be there. So then I'd go on and run my next errand, this and that. Yeah. And then I'd fly out the next day, like, you don't always get to see all your close homies whenever you want to, so as you grow up and as you develop yourself, it kind of is based on convenience, and the people who know that, they're going to get to hang with you when it's like an appropriate time are the ones that are going to be there to stay, because, when you're trying to force yourself to go out on a random Wednesday or something, like,
you kind of want, I get it. That's a good point. Like you're forcing yourself to go do something with people, as opposed to like you're 100% stoked about going to do something with people. Yeah, I get it, man. Like I've also noticed, and not to say anything bad about like my friends, because I'm stoked to have the great friends I have now.
Absolutely.
But like sometimes I have to take a step back myself, because I could be like super psycho here, but you ever found yourself in like in a way of thinking around certain people that it's not their fault, but you just kind of get into this vibe and you're like, it's not the vibe that you want to put off?
I mean, I feel you, and that has to do with the daily progression that we build for ourselves, to where it's okay, and it just kind of steers off a little bit, and, it just is what it is, like people I talked to for years in a row, and now, not saying I don't want to talk to them, but at the end of the day, like I'm just doing different shit. They're doing different shit. They hit you up and say, "Hey, what's new?" And it's like, everything. I mean, everything.
Every fucking thing.
So now I just say, "Oh, nothing really," because like something new is from new to me every single day. So like I can't even like begin to.
You would think that like if some like to me like there's people I haven't talked to in a while, but I stay up to date via social media of what they got going on.
That's a huge benefit of that.
Yeah, that way, like if I actually get a chance to talk to them, I was like, man, dude, like I noticed something on your social media recently. You were doing this. Like, what was that? Like, it's just like a normal conversation, but
be able to pinpoint something.
Yeah, you're staying in contact, because it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever gotten to this point in your relationship, and I'm not talking shit about mine, but when you're not up to date with everything going on in your significant other's relationship, how annoying is it to start from day one to tell her the whole story of why this took place and why it's annoying, but don't get mad at them because I'm gonna get to the next point. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like it just gets to a point where it's like it's really hard to open everything up from day one and really want to tell that story again.
For sure. I can relate to that in a sense where, my wife, again, she's a school teacher. She doesn't touch her phone all day long. Me, I can kind of be on my phone, but the moment she texts me happens to be the moment I'm in the middle of like a 3-hour interview or something, what's going on, or I'm really in the hustle and she asks me a serious question. So I don't have like an extra 6 minutes to sit and think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't lose this concentration. I'm in grind mode right now. Like I'm worried about this, can't worry about that. So we've developed this where, some days we'll talk quite a bit. Other days we don't, we just kind of touch base, this and that. And I get the problem where she like try and tell me all about her day while I'm at home. Throughout the day, I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about when you get home, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But more on what you're saying, like, don't stay relevant. And so it's hard when I get home. She'll like, oh, what was your favorite part? Or what'd you do? What was this? What was that? And I can think of like one or two things to like mention. And then all of a sudden, go out with the boys on Saturday and she brings a couple of her girls and we, hanging out, doing the shit. And all of a sudden a story relates to where I just was, and my wife's like, well, you didn't tell me that. And I was like, well, I didn't think of it, now we're like relating to like what went down, and like,
yeah, she's pissed. She's like, oh, you saved the good shit for the boys. No, I get it.
She's a good sport for sure.
My wife's the same way. It's got to be tough. Like I give her so much credit, and
all
I
the credit.
Your wife the same.
Babe, love you.
Yeah, it's got to be tough for them to see like your life through social media, and then also know that she has a direct line to you and what's going on.
Right.
But there's still that part of watching you through your phone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It makes it hard to believe sometimes. Like
for sure. So I sent like, rather than sending words, taking the time, this and that, she'll say, what's up? And I'll just like either take a selfie of where I'm at, or I'll just take a picture of what's in front of me and send that to her. Mm-hmm. And, it should, in a sense, describe itself to where she can, put two and two together at some point. But, a lot of times, like I said, if I lose the concentration and try to focus on, what's going on here, I lose what's going on here. And it just sets you back, 15, 20 minutes just to get back on what's going on. So
that's the hard thing
phone
about,
in the pocket is discipline.
That's the hard thing about grown men who do jobs or do things like what we do here, what you do, what I do, where there's a lot on the line. It's not like if you're working at a fucking like, Office Depot, and like you're stocking one night and you can go fuck off in the corner for a minute and like, hey, what do you got on, babe? That kind of bullshit. Like you have there's a lot on the line.
Yeah.
And I think it's always funny, not that I deal with it, but just when I was in my 20s, I still had this hustle mentality that I have now of trying to make things happen. And, you get like chicks that are like, oh, well, I'm going to talk to this dude because he works for, Enterprise Rental Car, and he'll do fuck all day long. And he can talk to me about everything going on fucking like Big Brother and shit on TV, and have a conversation about that. Like, bitch, I don't fucking watch TV. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy how like I've always felt like women would love to have creative guys, but creative guys means that like we have a cutoff for the attention that we can give to the world. Yeah. Because you have to be able to allot 100% of that attention towards the creative process.
Absolutely.
Which you never know when it's gonna like come on.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, a whole lot of where I'm at is a ton of hurry up and wait. So during my wait, I'll send her a message or send her a picture or something, and then all of a sudden the hurry up, there's no bullshit. Again, it's live, it's TV. You have that one time, you have that one shit.
Yeah.
You forgot to press record there for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not asking, Travis Pastrana or whoever to do the entire interview all over again because they have somewhere to be in the next 5 minutes. That's it. That's all you have. So, you're on it. Once it's like 5 minutes to reel, like, go, baby.
Where did you start? Like what programs did you start learning how to edit on?
So, first edited on Final Cut Pro. When I went up to school in the UP, there was this kid that was a photographer and knew a ton about computers. And we all convinced him to like hack us all these programs and get all this bootleg shit, So he greased my MacBook up with a bunch of stuff that I knew nothing about. And so Final Cut was the first program that I ended up dealing with. Photos, it started editing on Photoshop, and Lightroom came after that. So now I still use Lightroom. Photoshop is nothing I want to know anything about.
I know a couple. I know the things I want to do on Photoshop.
Yeah, like you can pick 10 things to know on that. After that, you need to be a scientist.
Exactly. I watch YouTube videos every once in a while, just like, how do you do that? Like taking 15 photos and making them all one, and using the like light painting on certain things and shit like that.
Yeah, and then you're 15 hours deep into watching videos, and you have one picture, and then to do it again, you have to watch all them videos again.
So the same thing for me. Like I used to get the Photoshop and Lightroom on bootlegs too as well. Like you'd always find the dude on Craigslist that said, "What you want? I got a fucking CD and a key for it." Yeah. And then now, smartly so, all these companies that were selling $600, $1,200, $500 programs are doing monthly subscription now. Yeah. Which is super smart because I pay like $79, $80 for everything that fucking Adobe makes.
Yeah.
And then even my sign program that I use for cutting vinyl with, it's a $2,000 to $3,000 buying, like you buy the product.
Yeah.
How smart is it? Because I just realized that now I have the version from '08.
Yeah.
And it still works. Just don't touch anything. You know what I mean? It's so primitive.
Don't update your new iPhone when the newest iPhone comes out. You know, that's the same shit.
So like that computer back there, like it's an old laptop. It's got Windows like HP or 7 maybe.
Hell yeah.
And it's like super solid. Nothing goes wrong. It's just a matter of don't let the internet touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And but now that that program has a I could do like it's like $20-something a month for that. It's like, fuck yeah, I'll buy that for all the new features and updates. And
right.
I don't have to have like those little fucking USB keys and shit. You know, you ever had those little dongles and shit you got to plug into everything?
Dude.
To get a program to work?
Oh, to get a program to work? I was going to say, I got fucking dongle in my pocket right now. Thanks a lot, iPhone.
Dude, I just had
fucking
to buy one of those yesterday.
Hate this, but you can't have the native headphones because I use these for the camera, use these in the plane, so I can't lose this shit because otherwise I can't. If the plane don't have a TV, dude,
yeah,
I'm stuck.
What's the best airline you think you've flown on?
Delta all day. Fuck every other airline ever.
I think the best one I ever flew was Virgin Air.
No.
It's pretty fly. Delta's the shit.
Delta all day.
Dude, I just started flying Southwest, and I'm pretty stoked about that. It's an upgrade from Spirit.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was just complaining rolling through the Vegas airport yesterday, and it was packed. And I look at the sign, it said Allegiant, and then it said Spirit. And I was like, they put all the fucking peasants right in the front row here? Put those guys at the end of the line where they don't know what's going on, you know? Because, like, when you get to the bigger airlines, you got a lot of the guys who, you know, fly more and they're on status and the flights aren't as much and this and that and blah, 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 to where they kind of know the program, where some of these other airlines, you know, you're buying a ticket because of how cheap it is. Now, I had a producer make that mistake for me one day last year, bought me a flight on United for $230. I travel with 4 or 5 bags at a time.
Yeah.
There was 0 carry-ons. My camera, you know, 20 grand chilling in a backpack. They want me to throw that under a plane.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. So they wanted $400 for me to then put it under the plane. And if I wanted to be allowed 1 carry-on, I needed to buy a whole different air ticket and then check the rest of the bags.
Wow.
So I walked over to the Delta. They gave me a flight that went out 45 minutes later on the spot and then upgraded me to first class.
Nice. That's the way to do it. Yeah. That I think I got used to flying Spirit because they used to have a direct flight to NorCal.
That's a big thing too. A lot of people look at the direct flights now. I fly out of a small airport to where I'm not going to go anywhere without a connection.
Yeah, you said you left at 10:30 today and got here at 5. You're like 2 hours away, 2-3 hours on a direct flight away.
Yeah.
Where'd you have to stop by today?
So stopped in Minneapolis this morning and went and hung out with the same bartender I was hanging out with yesterday for a little bit. So what's up? I was like, hey man. And then, but no, I was there for like two hours or so. I just went and chilled in the lounge. I got the big buffet and unlimited bloodies and Jack on the Rocks. So
all day bend.
Yeah, you know, well, it's not a bad idea.
I just like when I get on those airplanes, they give you those like fucking free Cokes and a cracker. Or some crackers. I'm like, fuck, free. Like, you're not gonna charge me for this shit? Like, I'm like stoked.
Yeah,
I don't fly that much. No, like I fly a lot for my family.
Yeah,
but I don't fly a lot for in terms of like how you are. Where like there was one point in time when I was flying like once a month, right? And I was like, fuck, man, I feel like a business dude.
Yeah, and that is quite a bit of flying. I remember the same time where I was flying, you know, an event once a month for 8 or 10 months, and I was like, holy shit, this is like going to a lot of places. Well, now I'm on like where I'm going from one city to a whole different city to sometimes a whole different city to then go home to where. Or instance today, I got home 10:30 last night. I was at the airport 10:30 this morning, and unfortunately for me, I had a bottle of tequila that I checked in my bag. Pressure popped the bottle, so my whole roller bag, all my clothes in it, were soaked in tequila.
Oh hell yeah!
So
It's gonna be a good day
I'm
this
sure.
week.
I'm sure all my clothes in the bag right now because I just pulled it out this morning. I'm like, oh, well, that's sick. There's tequila over everything. So my bag just reeks. I'm like, oh god.
How you were telling me about like how you do your camera thing where you've invested in certain cameras and you get to the point where you get to rent those things out to people, to the production companies, basically.
Yeah. So basically, going back to the post on the guys that been showing me the ropes, Kim and Lonnie. These they know the industry very well and they know what's going on. And a lot of it was not entirely based on what they had to say, but what they said was shit that I experienced in other aspects of the workload as well. And at the end of the day, the Sony FS7 was the most rented camera for a couple of years in the U.S. And then on top of what switched from there was the A7S II. And those are both cameras that I own. And, they'll put the data out online to show what's the most common shit to have in big production stuff.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to create work for myself, you had to be available. Like you can be there and be like, yeah, I can run your camera. They're like, well, we don't have any cameras. We need someone with a camera.
Yeah.
So now that I've invested in that, these guys will either A, rent it from a rental house for an operator who doesn't have one, or find an operator who does have one, and then they can skip a step, go into the rental house. And then they can go straight to me where they pay the rental for my gear plus my day rate.
Yeah.
So then after X amount of jobs, your gear is paid off via these companies needing to use it.
Yeah.
And then it's a moneymaker. It's kind of like a rental house in a sense, but you don't live in it.
Yeah. I would think that the good thing about doing that is like if they're reaching out to you, then you know how to use the equipment versus like if they hired you to go work with a camera like a Blackmagic or maybe something you have no idea about.
Yeah.
So,
No, this past week out in Vegas for the Mint is excruciating. Mad Media is called Mad Media for a reason. These guys are insane. They created Gymkhana. And we've all seen Gymkhana 1 and the XP1K, the old Polaris Razor commercials. These guys created what it was like to put rad shit online. So they handpick every single person that works on that show for a specific reason. They're like, we need someone to do this, 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 and this. So you're brought out, like you would be brought out specifically to airbrush a helmet. Yes, you can do this. Yeah, you can do that. But what we want you here for is the airbrushing. And they bring someone else to do the painting and someone else to do the flake or whatever, because each person is great at that portion of it. So I was brought out and benefited from the cameras that I own because that's what was being utilized on this show to run my small Sony on a gimbal and to run the big camera, do interviews and this and that, where my job, literally I was put in the field and we had a producer, but he had other jobs to do, to where they just, let me loose and was like, get cool shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, duh.
What camera do you use to try to get more of that B-roll stuff?
So my reason for being there was to get wide shots, wide smooth pans, stuff like that. They had other people doing similar stuff, but their assignment was to get something different. Where they utilized me in an aspect of like, okay, here's the start lines going off, right? So we want to see every single bike go, but we want it to be a cool tracking gimbal shot, you know? They're like, yeah, we got Zach here with his gimbal. That's his spot. The wide shot to show everyone coming through.
Yeah.
Winter comes through and he's about to spray champagne. Well, we had a guy under the champagne. We had a guy shooting his face while I was out in the crowd shooting the wide crowd of the champagne flying everywhere and stuff like that, So like that was a big portion of me being there, was to just keep my shit the way it was and go and get.
So you don't get like confused as to like thinking, oh, that'd be a good shot, I should go do that. You kind of stick more to like knowing like, okay, it kind of narrows down where you have to be creative at. Like my job is to keep it this.
Yeah. But it's also, that's where it gets difficult, because like I'll be shooting that and I'm like, dude, I'm seeing something where I want to put, a tight punch on that and get the back way out of focus and super gangster slow-mo. But like, this is what I'm running. This is my job. So, but at that point, you see that stuff and you hit your homie up, be like, hey, who's close over here? If you're not busy yet, there's something really sick going on. We could get a long lens on. But I did have to run both kits. So 2 days I had a PA, so that's a production assistant. And I was riding around in a Razor 4-seater 1000.
Is that video where you're in the back of the kit?
Yeah.
That should be that needs to be. I need a screenshot that when you're big ass smile.
Dude, all smiles when it comes to that kind of shit. Cause it's sketchy, but it's that type of shit you want to be doing. It's like, you shouldn't be doing it, but it's what you want to be doing. Should I jump through the fire? No, but I'm hammered. So
you like a Ronin S type gimbal, or I couldn't remember what you had on that.
Yeah, so I got a Ronin S and a Ronin M. I've ran the Movies a little bit. They're basically a little bit heavier duty. They're smoother. It's a larger investment. You're spending 10 grand versus $700. So you get what you get, but these smaller, cheaper gimbals and cameras and stuff, you can really utilize them to like extreme amounts. So there's dozens of videos online of like full blown commercials and shit being shot on iPhones. Yeah. And they're using that kind of stuff. But you're not going to have it hanging out of a helicopter. It's not going to hold up to it. So the shots that I was getting during that video, I haven't played them back. I'm willing to bet after seeing it in that video that they're a little shaky. But they were shot in 4K, so I'm sure they can be sturdied out just enough. But so the Ronin M and the Ronin S, I got both of them, and they each got a specific time and a place.
See, now that I've played with the Ronin S, I feel like the Ronin M has way more sturdiness to it, to where you can kind of stabilize it,
right?
Because that motherfucker is heavy.
Yeah, I'll show you a nice attachment you'll want for that.
Okay, is that top handle thing?
A lot of people like that one, but I got the one that goes off the sides.
Okay,
to give you the two, because I was so used to the two handles at first that I wanted the two. But a lot of people like that top handle, and I can go to someone else's camera. Me and my guy Brennan talk about this all the time. Like, someone else hands you their setup, and it's like trying to use left-handed scissors, It's like what the hell is going on here? Why isn't this working? But everyone's got their comfort spot, and you just get used to what you get, because you buy one thing and then you learn it. Yeah, you can't just like set it aside and keep buying 6 different things just to. I know, dude.
I'm all about buying shit, bro. Like,
I feel it. That's where Amazon's rad, because you can buy it, use it, and just send it back.
You know how I justify it though? Like, I watch 2 hours of YouTube videos about the products that I want to buy, and it makes me feel justified that I've done my research. Buy, but I'm realizing, like, and it has to go a lot with the way a lot of things are now. Like, you can finance just about everything from everywhere.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Okay, but hear me out. You can, so, like, a lot of places right now are offering, like, 12 months no interest. Like, I bought that computer. I put like $1,200 down. It's a $4,000 computer. Yeah, and I'm paying off the rest. And as long as I pay like $250 or $300 a month or something like that, I don't remember what the deal was. Right. And bam, 12 months is done. Well, I've already knocked off. Like, I was paying extra to knock it off quicker. Yeah. And then I found out through Dell, the actual Dell Financial or Dell company, I'm like looking at those lenses I was just telling you, the one I just bought. I'm like, looking on Amazon, like, can I do this? I'm trying to talk myself into buying this lens. And then I noticed it was on Dell's website. I went and looked at, see how much credit I had. I was like, fuck yeah, I paid like $400, got the damn $1,800 lens. Yeah. And I'm like, still not a great photographer, but I got the best shit on the market though. So it's kind of going well.
For sure. I'll finance some stuff on Best Buy, because they'll do 18 months interest free or 12 months.
That's not bad.
12 months interest free. I mean, it's how I got my first iMac back when I didn't have the cash to buy shit, this and that. But
I traded 2 fucking helmets for this MacBook Pro. That was when I first started painting helmets. One of my buddies, and I didn't even pay it out all right. But yet the FXR down in the corner, 3 helmets for that thing.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and I still owe him 2 helmets. But no, yeah, I get it, man. Like, it's one of those deals, because electronics are crazy, and it kind of was leading me into this like next little like idea I wanted to run at you and see what you thought about. But with everything going to, like, I feel like being on YouTube or creating videos was a much more difficult thing to do 10 years ago. Like, you actually had to really kind of know your shit. And now everything is becoming so streamlined. The way I know is because I can do some of it now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not any of this shit. Like, doing podcasts, doing videos, it's like whatever people can find. Like, if corporations see that they can sell a lot of these mics, this whole setup, Rode, smart thing, that little mixing board.
These guys can be paying you soon enough.
Well, dude, these dudes they created a product that makes my job effortless.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of the new cameras, autofocus abilities in video. When I started finding out that people shoot video in autofocus, I really got mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, well, I was told you can't. I was told you can't shoot autofocus. You know, so I had to like learn it. And now the shit that they put out there, you can track something in autofocus and it just stay like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of what the Canon stuff. And I've been, as you mentioned, going the Sony route, and I've been really looking into it and trying to understand their camera. Everything's going mirrorless, though. I mean, that's kind of like the future. In cameras.
Well, it's not entirely that. I guess, they are an upgrade, but you know, Canon went into it and they created a whole new line of lenses for it. But they created such a great product with the glass, like the L glass that you got, the red stripe, all that stuff. That's like the money. That's the shit. And they're flawless. Like, you can't break them. Like, I mean, you can, but you know, you can't.
They're the best.
They're the best.
And even financially wise, like compared to Nikon, which is what I was shooting before this.
And Sony native lenses too, at $800 each lens. Right. But anybody who has this kit, they've had the kit for the past decade or more, and they don't need any new shit.
Yeah.
So they had to create a new camera, a new mount, new lens package, so people would have to adapt and start buying their shit again because
they weren't making any money.
You didn't.
Well, see, though, the EOS R was something I was really looking into.
Cool camera.
And you gotta understand, like, I'm a brand loyalist. You know, to the T, to where I was Nikon, and I decided, you know what? I can't afford Nikon. I don't make that kind of money in life, so I'm going to go to Canon. And then everything, I only see, like, I'm married to Canon right now. We might get a divorce at some point in time. But
I still shoot my stills on a Canon, just Canon 6D, and you know, I love that little camera. Yeah, at the same time, I'll toss it in the saddlebag on my bike and start cruising down with it. I won't put like my nicest piece of glass on it while it's bouncing down the road, but you know, you get a lot of shit done with it. And the new EOS R is a really cool camera. Larry Chen is massive in automotive photography. He's arguably the best. And the little team he put together is all Canon based, and good buddies of mine. And seeing what they're producing for video out of these new Canon cameras is really, really rad. Yeah.
Well, when you start like diving into all this shit, and you start like seeing what you're putting out, like whatever, you know, how people are viewing this. I haven't really had a chance to go back and look at all these live streams yet, but just trying to dial the lights, get the lights dialed in, make it to where it's a really, you know, I haven't even got camera positions down where I really want them yet.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, because you're trying to find a way to put the camera so you get the best shot.
Yeah.
But the best shot's like right fucking in front of you.
Yeah.
And like we would have to be like, so, you know what I mean? It's really hard. So like, I don't necessarily like these angles that we have right here, and I don't know if you were to like do some drop down ceiling type things, you know what I'm saying? Like where you have like a drop down, but then it might be so high you would get such just not the right perspective, you know?
I mean, anything you see, the talk show, radio stuff, they have mics just like this. They're either coming out of the center of the table or off the side, and the camera angles are very similar to where, you know, they're just kind of set up, and sometimes they're manned by someone and like move back and forth. But
if these were boom mics out of camera, like this shot could be a little bit lower, maybe a little bit just out of this frame, and it would be a lot more.
I just think you're complicating stuff at that point.
Dude, I watch too much YouTube, man. It's like it creates doubt. I mean, like when you're watching dudes that like literally get sponsorship money to create nice videos all day, and I'm sitting here trying to create it on my lunch break. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's different.
right.
And that's the scary thing about like you kind of mentioned it earlier. It's like I'm 38, so the sponge of absorption in my body to learn things is a little
slowing down. Yeah.
If I'd have started this in my 20s, I'd be a lot more. I think it'd be a lot easier to stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you also got to think like, man, you know, unfortunately, when you start to create like somewhat of a presence on social media, like, and not that I tried to, but people kind of look at certain brands as much bigger than they actually are.
Yeah.
And so like when someone says like, oh, we're going to do a podcast or a video or YouTube, like I wonder if they associate like a follower count with like the ability to produce something like what you put out versus what's going to come from me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like you get that smoke and mirrors thing where I think people have a high expectation from you because a lot of people associate, like I said, followers or how much they hear about you, as in you should have the money to be able to afford to put out the best kind of quality content there is.
It doesn't always take money, you know, it takes an eye, but you're not wrong. Like I can't sit there and express enough that people can't just go and buy a camera that's like the most gangster camera out there and create cool shit.
Fuck.
You know. But I'll have someone text me every other day. What's a good camera to get? You know, beginner, want to go take some pictures. And I say, what phone do you have?
Yeah.
You know, the iPhone 11 Plus Max, whatever. Got the cool fucking wide angle. You hit edit auto and you make minor adjustments from there. It shoots 4K, slow-mo, all this shit. Like, and it fits in your pocket and you can make phone calls off it.
Yeah. Like, I do agree. You know, I think, I don't know, there is something fun, like when you're playing with a camera and all the settings.
Yeah.
When you're in the moment, you're trying to get a shot, you're trying to do whatever. And I'm talking photography, not so much videography, but once you finally dial it in right and you get a fucking dope little, you know, shot of something and you see it once you put it on the iPad or whatever, bigger.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, man, that's actually pretty crisp.
Right.
That to me, like that's like these little wins that you get out of doing stuff.
No, that's big time though. But did you start with the camera or did you start like putting cool stuff on your phone? Like,
you were
doing cool stuff and you wanted to see it, so you started here and it looked cool there, and you're like,
yeah,
I could probably get a camera. Like,
well, for sure, what happened with me, man, is like in the early days of my career when I started, you know, getting a little bit of magazine attention and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I became good friends with a lot of photographers from certain magazines.
Oh, absolutely.
So and part of that was because I read someone wrote this thing up. I can't remember who. It's been like almost 15 years, but it's like, instead of reaching out to the magazine editors, reach out to the photographers in the magazine. Mm-hmm. Because the photographers tend to be your real door into magazines, not hitting the editor up like, hey, bro, like, can I get a feature?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's what I did. And I was able to get in like, you know, the Super Street Bike, which was an old sport bike magazine type thing. But hanging out with this dude and him shooting my bikes and us shooting the shit and just being cool people to each other, I would ask him questions about his camera because I was like, I'd be sitting here and he'd be like, all right, so go stand there. I remember there's this badass shot that he took of me in downtown Dallas with my first bike I ever built that was in a magazine. And he did like just, you know, a long exposure. It was at night.
Okay.
And I stood in there and then walked out so to get that ghost effect.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, you just made me cool as fuck, dude.
Right.
And so I was like always mesmerized by a photographer's ability to take the mundane and turn it into something with so much mystery. And is this dude cool as shit? Is he a douchebag? Only time will tell, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of things have always been the thing about cameras that are anything. And so like when you start like trying to show the world, you know, when Instagram came out, then everybody became a photographer, right?
Right.
You're trying to show the world your world in the best fucking way possible.
For sure.
And so like the cameras got better, obviously, because there's a demand for it.
Right.
And, you know, then it just kind of takes you to the next step. Like, well, you know what? I'm at a point, too, and I've talked about it a million times with the podcast. I'm not going to fucking annoy my audience anymore with it. But there's something tangible that I want to hold a photo that you took of me. I want to be like, fuck, man, thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
Damn, like, this means a lot to me.
Right.
This physical thing. I know you could take 1,000,000 shots of me and airdrop them to me.
Absolutely.
It means it still means something, but this right here, you chose this photo that you took of me. This means something to you.
Yeah.
That to me, like I want that feeling again.
Yeah. No, that's pretty big time. I've gotten more into like realizing and understanding what that's like more recently, as like who are becoming my good buddies and stuff are people who I see less and less each year. And, you know, they might be in Long Beach or they might be just down the street, but I'm in Long Beach more than I'm just down the street. Or, you know, it might be, I got a good group of homies in Georgia, Top Garage, drift guys. Guy also builds really cool choppers too. But, you know, it's like, you don't get to see him that much. So when you do, like, it's always cool to just like feed them just a little something, like no matter what it is. And I did the Suicide Machine Company guys. They gave me a bike to ride, gave me a truck to drive, and they gave me a house to sleep in. And while I was out there working, and I had to come back out, and I didn't know how to like pay them for their, you know, the respect that they showed me and, you know, brought me into their shit. But like, they weren't going to be like, oh, pay me. And I couldn't just be like, here's money. So I knew that they were like art collectors and stuff like that. So I actually sourced this guy local to me in Wisconsin. And what he does is these little model train cars. And he did like hand graffiti on it with their logo and stuff like that, and actually turned out pretty fucking gangster. Like once I got it, I don't really want to give it to these guys.
Didn't you tell me that about that? And like he gives you like all the notes and stuff too?
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Yeah. So this guy's name will pop into my head here, but so I hired him, gave him, you know, I was like, this is what I want. Do your shit. You're the graffiti artist, you know. And so he did it on the train. It's fucking badass. And then on the opposite side, he did his like signature, and it looked like graffiti on a little train car. And but before he did it on the train, he just had his paper in front of him, and he's doing pencil sketches and this and that. And that one goes to the side. This one does pencil, and he brings in a pen, and it goes over. And this one he did in, you know, Sharpie and this and that. And then it comes down to his final product, and he had each one of them sign with his little signature, how his steps on how he's going to do what he did on the train, folded them up and put him in the box with the train car. And I wouldn't have found him unless I wanted to pull it out and play with it and like see it in person, you know. Bo Thomas.
Okay.
Bo Thomas. I think his little brand is Pyre, Pyre.
Yeah.
But Trackside Graffiti is his shit, and he does some really cool stuff. So I'd recommend anyone who wants a cool little piece done, hit him up. I'll be getting a couple more done myself. But back to the point, the gifting that to them.
Yeah.
You know, rather than giving them $150, I went out of my way, found something that was super rad for them, and I gave it to them, and they're like, "Yeah, this is fucking sick, dude. And that's who does this?" I'm like, well, you guys didn't need money and you like cool shit, so I figured I'd try to find something you didn't have, you know.
I honestly, you know, I think a lot more people are probably sentimental than they would lead on to believe, because, you know, like if you would have gave them $150, what is that, a bar tab?
Barely.
Barely.
If you're lucky.
$150, man, really, it's not a lot, but I know the gesture, right? But that train car will always be there, and, you know, it might memorialize that specific time that you guys spent together, or just the fact of all the times you guys spent together.
Exactly. You know? My favorite coffee mug I have would come from my best friend Corey.
Yeah.
Just because one day we were way too hungover and went to this like all you can eat buffet restaurant called Paul Bunyan's. And he bought a mug there, and like every time I go to his house, he like pull it out of his cupboard with like a smirk on his face, just like look. And I like always got jealous. And then one day he come down to my house, and he just pulled out a paper bag, and he had a freshie for me, brand new Paul Bunyan mug. I use that coffee mug every day.
Yep. So like I said, man, that it's one of those deals, like finding a way, if you're some type of art, and that's what I struggle with, right? Because my art is very time consuming.
Yeah.
It's almost like if like your art, creating a video is very time consuming. And like, I was just having this conversation with my dude, Zach, the guy that works here, his name is Zach too. And we were hanging out, and I was like, man, like if I didn't live, if bills weren't a thing and all this, your bike would be painted, your helmet would be painted. I would literally paint helmets for people that are so badass, and I would just be sending them to people like, hey man, please wear this.
Yeah.
But I'm just not at a point where I can do that. And I don't know if I ever will be able to, but for me, like when someone does get a paint job, like a helmet from me, it's one of those deals that like, and I've been kind of beating this, with a stick the last couple of podcasts, but like, it's very personal to me to do it for you. And so like, I don't know, like if I did a helmet for you, we've talked about doing one and stuff.
Yeah.
If I met some dude at a bike rally once, he's like, yo, dude, you painted this helmet. I was like, yeah, for Zach. Who the fuck are you?
Right.
That would bother me that did that helmet.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get a paint job on a bike. Like I get it. Like it's a it's a bigger investment.
Have it for several years and you might part ways with it or something, but fresh paint and then out the door would be kind of a bummer. I could see that for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those deals, and like photography is one of those deals that even the quick snaps that my buddies have got of me just riding a bike across country or some shit, like that's one of the weirdest things. Again, we've talked about a lot lately, is that when you're the guy that really loves photography, all your friends are the guys that get the best into that stick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they all got sick shots of them doing cool shit. And
I always look for old video of me snowboarding. I can't find any because I remembered I was the guy who owned the camera.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like the skate guy falling around, hitting all the fucking curbs and rocks, falling on top of his camera and shit.
Mr. Shadow Man.
Yeah,
that's all you see
exactly.
Is a shadow.
But yeah, it's one of those deals, man. Like you just want to look at it to where it's, I don't know. Like I'm a sentimental guy, man. It means a lot. That fucking that mod bandit right behind you, that was gifted to me by Simpson, and then it's the first mod bandit ever custom painted ever in the world. And so to me, like I thought about selling that at one point just because I had FXR fever real bad.
Can I bring that down here?
Yeah. And I thought that I'd be able to. I had a couple offers for it for like in the $2,000 range, and so I was like, "Fuck, man, I could probably sell that and put it down on an FXR like I wanted." But then I realized that like Simpson themselves gave me that helmet to paint it so that they can unveil to the world the Mod Bandit. You know what I mean? Come here, you big beautiful bitch. So, and I had to catch myself. I was like, man, like that would have been so disrespectful on my part to Simpson, to just sell it off like fuck it.
Yeah.
See that helmet? We can't bring that one on the camera, but see this one over here?
Yeah.
That ain't even came out yet, son.
Oh.
This is the new Simpson motorcycle helmet that comes out in 2 months.
I'm looking at it. You guys don't get to see it. It ain't even out yet. It's sparkly.
So it's one of those deals, like, you want to, just be respectful of the people that do things for you.
This is my favorite part about how you do your shit.
Yeah.
Like, you see a lot of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you toss one of those in there.
Yeah.
That's dope. See it? I want mine to be Dale Earnhardt right there. With his mustache out, right? And then across the back, me and my buddy Jason come out. It'd have to say Freedom. For freedom,
Yeah.
Freedom.
His number was 3, right?
Yeah. A Dale Earnhardt on the back.
That's also another one of the great things about doing those helmets for people, or just whenever people start reaching out and wanting to do one.
Yeah.
Is people got some funny ass ideas. Sometimes, it's like legit, like, whoa, like I laughed whenever I read that, kind of shit.
That Johnny Cash shit you just did was I've showed that to at least a dozen people already.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple good ones coming up. We got a Golden Girls.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I'm trying to talk him into one Golden Girl because he wants all of them. Like, dude, I haven't done 4 heads before.
All right, well, I'll change my idea to Charlie's Angel Son.
Oh, shit. The OG?
Yeah, dude, not the freshie. Hell no.
The fresh one didn't even get play on fucking the movie theater?
Yeah, no, it went straight to the airline.
some of the one I want to do the most that no one's brought up yet is Hulk Hogan. I want to do one that says like hanging and banging or swinging and banging or hell yeah, brother, or just something.
I can't sit here and say out loud that Hulk Hogan's up there with Dale Earnhardt, but
you got the Fu Manchu going on,
for sure. I could, I go with the Hogan one too, absolutely.
Or like people, I guess people, if I did a Hulk Hogan one, everybody would start looking at wrestlers. That's how, unfortunately, America and the rest of the world,
right,
think about it. Like, that's what makes these helmets special, is you think about shit that's special to you, not what's going to be good on the internet.
Yeah, you go to get a tattoo. You're like, I don't really know what I want. I kind of want this, kind of want that. Tattoo artist puts it together, and then you get there and you're like, okay, I like that, but I'd like it different now. You didn't have an idea to go with, but now that they gave you one, you have all these new ideas and all these new changes.
That's a good idea.
And that's like what you're saying. Like, if I were to do Hulk Hogan, like, well, that just put the idea in everyone's head for them to start like figuring out their own little angle of it, type thing. But I actually just used a Hulk Hogan reference the other day when someone was talking sauce on the handlebars over here. And they're like, yeah, put some wax and twist it. And I'm like, fucking Hulk Hogan never put wax and twisted up his mustache, dude. And I said, hell no, brother. So, that one kind of fits the lines for sure.
Yeah, so finding those different, there's so many, like you got music, culture, sports, presidents, we've done that now. It's like you get all these different areas and then memorialize people that lost people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's
so many different things, but I feel like it's good for me in business, but it's also like something that I think that people aren't getting exactly what they really want.
Do you have say an evaluation process of who you choose to do a helmet for?
Very complicated. So check this out. Like, I had this dude that hit me up, a real good friend of mine who I'm actually going to be spending a lot of time in the Northeast with. I don't know if you ever saw it. I did a Muhammad Ali helmet.
Yeah.
Real solid dude, lives in Harlem. He's going to show me the whole Northeast.
Yeah.
Right? Really stoked to do this. Well, he was at the International Motorcycle Show with Lexan, and a guy came up and saw the helmet, was in love with it, started following me on Instagram, and wanted to do a Kobe tribute. I'm fucking all about it. I grew up playing basketball. I'm all down. Dude kept hitting me up, and I was like, I'm really backed up. So I'm usually, like right now, I'm looking at like June. Yeah. And I have a 2-week trip in June. So if you get a June spot, you're kind of fucked. You know what I mean? But he hit me up, and I finally got him on the phone. I was like, all right, let's talk. And he's like, yeah, I want to do a Kobe tribute, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, down. And I'm not necessarily one of those like color nerds where it's like, oh, you got to do gold and purple or any of that. Yeah. But what he wanted me to do was he wanted me to match the colors of his Hayabusa, right? His sport bike. Yeah. Which are very hard to get those kind of colors.
Right.
They're not as commonly repainted as like a Harley is. And even Harley colors are kind of like pulling teeth to get colors. Right. So what makes my helmets what they are is the fact that I don't use factory colors. I use pearls and flakes that are very extravagant on top of other colors that make them pop the most.
Right.
So if I'm taking your white and blue that have no flake and no pearl to it, you're not going to get the same thing from me that you saw from me that you wanted from me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain that to people, and I told them, like, dude, first off, why are you trying to match your helmet? That's gay. I was like, are you gonna, like, you're doing this helmet for yourself?
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep that Hayabusa forever? You might, but forever? Like, what if you get a Harley or you grow up or something? Now you got this white and blue fucking
grow up or something.
Yeah, you get this white and blue helmet that matches your you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Okay, maybe we do another helmet, but just make the helmet for you, man. Like, that's what's cool about this shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, I felt like I looked cool as shit wearing that blue helmet, red Vans, and a white and orange bike going down the highway. I didn't match for shit, but you couldn't tell me nothing.
Hell no.
I felt so cool going down the highway.
Yeah, and you can't not feel cool wearing one of your helmets. So I mean,
I appreciate it.
These things are fire. Like, seeing them online and seeing them in person is night and day.
Well,
online is cool, but seeing this shit up in the cut is badass.
What I really want to see, man, it's not just like helmets for me. It's like I want to see people starting to use motorcycle helmets as a real way to memorialize themselves and their rides and their events in life, as opposed to, like, oh, I got my bike painted. I got 2 helmets. Can you match them?
Right.
And they throw, because that was one of the things that a lot of people in the paint industry especially motorcycles, never really dug doing helmets, man, because they were always like that thing that the customer tried to sneak in. You know, like you bring your Sport Glide in here and we talk about the paint work and everything's on the table done. We shake hands, we agree. And then you show up to drop it off. Hey man, I forgot to tell you I got these 2 helmets. How much you gonna hit them for me for?
Yeah.
They always would do it. And you're kind of in a weird place because I'm thinking of the fact like you're about to hand me probably $1,500 to $2,000 as a deposit.
Right.
And if I say like, yeah, those helmets are also $1,000 a piece, you're gonna be like, yeah, fuck that.
Right.
Because that's how much I'm paying for this whole paint job.
Right.
And it's just one of those deals, man. So, you know, I like to see, I know a lot of car helmet guys and they fucking kill it, man. Like it's a whole culture.
It's several pages I follow, you know, every time I look forward to Formula Drift guys, they'll post, you know, their new car liveries and who designed them for the fresh year, and their new race suit, who designed their race suit, their new helmet, who designed their helmet. Big crash happens, they got to get a new helmet, who designed that helmet. I always click, I always check out to see what they're doing, see who else they're working with, what kind of stuff they're putting out. Because at the end of the day, what was that, since you bring up the matching Hayabusa helmet, there was like some, I don't know if it was literally biker boys or what it was, that was literally down here in Texas, and I think wasn't Kid Rock in it, and they would drag race.
That was in LA, but that's
okay.
Biker Boys was the movie.
Okay, but and that was a thing, that was their trophy. If you beat the guy, you'd take his helmet. So like everyone was known, you know, for their helmet, and it was like, dude finally got the King's helmet at the end there, and it was like a big deal, you know, but they were matching helmets to their Hayabusa, so I thought that was kind of funny when you brought that up.
Yeah, it's one of those deals, man. Like it's
the movie's funny as shit every time I think about it.
I don't give a fuck who anybody is, man. I watched that movie and I bought it on DVD and watched it more than once. I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm one of those dudes that can watch things as a true, just like, you know what? I get it. There's no way that any Hollywood thing can like do a movie about any genre of anything and everybody that's in that world is going to go, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What people don't realize, in my opinion, I could be wrong, is that Hollywood didn't make that movie for you.
No.
They made it to hopefully pique the interest of the other millions of people that don't give 2 fucks about motorcycles.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
All they tried to do was make it as accurate as possible by standards of by most bikers. Yeah. Sons of Anarchy, perfect example. Sons of Anarchy was a great fucking TV show. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, it's definitely not something that everybody walks around. Like, you don't wear the vest or the T-shirts anywhere. That's not allowed. But it's one of those things. It was a great show. It came on. It fucking broke records. I'm glad that a motorcycle show broke records and put motorcycling in living rooms of people across the world.
For sure. For sure.
Like, that was good. Yeah. I wish Harley and all these other companies would have backed that shit more. Maybe we would have more stuff like that right now.
But didn't Wild Hogs come out just after Sons of Anarchy started?
It might have. And that's a good-ass movie too, dude. Del Fuego's... Dude, I watched Wild Hogs for the first time last year in San Francisco.
Wait, the first time last year?
Yeah, I
have to watch it at least once or twice a year.
It's fucking funny, man.
It's too funny.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, man. I don't give a shit who you are, man.
It's called male bonding. Haven't you ever seen Wild Hogs?
I mean, all those different things, you know. If you're a fighter, if you fight for a living, I mean, how was the drift community whenever Tokyo Drift came out? You think they were tripping?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing that everybody was doing when the first Fast and Furious came out and they kept shifting gears in the race. It was supposed to be a quarter mile. Dude, I never really was into racing till after Fast and Furious. So you got to understand, like, when I found out that they were only racing for a quarter mile at a time, I was like, how did they get through all those gears?
That many times.
And then hit nitrous at the end like it was nothing. Like, how do they downshift? It's one of those, it's just like, but if that show hadn't came out, that would I have been influenced by it to start looking at that?
And that goes straight to the part of where, like, you show someone an idea and they're like, yes, I do like that, but now that you gave me an idea, I have more ideas.
Yeah.
You know, it's where you're like, I wasn't into the racing and stuff until Fast and the Furious. Well, how could you not be into it after that movie? When that
Yeah.
thing first came out, first of all, it was like ahead of its time when like the graphics and all that going through it, and but it got you stoked on cars, dude. I mean,
it did. It really did.
They're pretty retarded looking cars, but it did not get you stoked on them.
I still, to this day, man, one of the all-time best scenes in any tuner, anybody that's into wrenching on bikes, cars, whatever, is that scene where that fucking Supra pulls up on that flatbed and they cut scene to them fucking like, putting the steering wheel on, standing in the engine bay, just all these dudes in a garage working on the car, like all those parts laid out on the fucking table.
Yeah, that was a shit.
That shit's dope, man.
Yeah.
I try to do that shit every time I'm building a bike here. I'm like laying all shit out, like, okay, how did Fast and Furious do it? Panning out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is, like movies, TV shows, they really do influence like a lot of what we end up liking, you know what I mean? And people don't want to admit that, but it's the truth, you know what I mean?
It's what you see, like, you don't come up with the ideas out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of people do, but at the end of the day, like, it's always an influence from somewhere.
You also when you hear people talking shit about Sons of Anarchy and like the Sons of Anarchy Dyna guys that came out, anybody from California that sells any parts for Dynas, you're not allowed to talk shit about that. Because they are literally the ones putting you in business right now.
Right.
Those kids see that shit on TV, or they did 10 years ago, and they wanted to come and get the kit, and your ass got, a new T-Sport out of it, or a nicer RT FXR, or you're on a new bagger because of it.
Yeah.
So, think about that.
Right. No, for sure. And that's usually where, all the sauce comes from too, unfortunately, is too deep in the community. But, oh well,
So is the drifting world still kind of heavily out of California, or is it kind of found other pockets?
It's got some good pockets, but obviously California, it's expensive out there because you're paying for the weather. It's always in your favor. I see Walmart out there stores their shit outside. Their product that goes on the shelf stays outside until it's ready to come in. Rains once a year. No, community is huge out there, but the community is huge out there for a lot of things. Like let's go to the circle track, the Super Hooligan. That's all Long Beach area.
Seems like it's really close to Rolling
it's
Sands.
all centralized there. I mean, Roland's building a lot of the wheels for these guys and a lot of the parts, and you have really badass fabricators in there. You got Jay Losa, who's a big time builder that's like OG shit, and you got guys building bikes for celebrities, and they're all all in that area. But it's also where everyone else is. That's how shit gets big, because the community is big and the demand is high and stuff. So you have a lot of the big race teams out there, but you also have a lot of the big marketing agencies out there. You want to be big in the scene, you go out here where people are hiring stunt drivers and parts demonstrations and testing and stuff like that. Like, how you supposed to go and test Edelbrock shit if you're not right down the shop from them? But you want like a full ride off of them. Like,
hey, ship me all your shit
tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, this part doesn't work. I need more different stuff.
Yeah.
No, you go back
sense.
down the road. So a whole lot of everything centralized there. It's also why Hollywood, they created an area for actors and actresses and films to be created. If they wouldn't have decided that that's where people wanted to do stuff, then it would be more widespread. But instead, they were able to cut the costs. Originally cut the cost of the travel. Now it costs more to shoot there than to go and shoot in Jersey, But yeah, everything builds its own scene. So Formula Drift, House of Drift, Irwindale, it's California. Streets of Long Beach, that's the Grand Prix track, and that's pretty fucking gangster, like shutting down the street for a pro drifting event.
Yeah, I got a podcast in the book still that I got to release with, who Paul Tracy is?
Yeah.
So he's a good friend of mine from the bagger world.
Nice.
And we talked a little bit about that. It was a real short podcast, so I'm waiting on the right time to release it.
Yeah.
But yeah. He was telling me about racing and that type of shit. And I felt like I didn't do the best job in the world because I don't know enough about racing to really dive deep and ask the right questions. So I tried to relate it to that.
Right.
It gave me a challenge as like an interviewer of trying to tap into other people's things that I don't know a lot about. You know?
No, I got to deal with that shit on the daily basis, or I'm like on a roll asking questions, and I come out to my next guy and I just ask the same 6 questions to the last 6 guys. Now on the 7th guy, I drew like a complete blank trying to figure out what I'm trying to learn from him, because like I try to get away from the repetitiveness, but then all of a sudden it just like everything leaves.
I think, a little bit of a thing that I kind of learned from people doing interviews and stuff, and I learned it from like dating. People like to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, not arrogantly, but when you ask someone a question about who they are, they tend to have a good idea of that. They're the best ones for the answer. Right. So they're, and they get a chance to talk about them and how they feel.
Sometimes, unless they're like, "Are you crazy?" And they're like, "No." And then all of a sudden, their ex-dude's hitting you up like, "Watch out, dude. That bitch is crazy."
So if you find, like I felt like if you find a way to ask questions, and if you just ask some generic questions and pay attention to the answers, then you get more questions in that response.
Right.
Like even with you, like this is a natural thing I do. Like you'll say something and it'll trigger thoughts.
Yep.
That like come up, like, you said something earlier and I already asked you this question, but you basically said something about, skateboard kids and things like that. And it made me think of the kids with the cameras, like where did they evolve to?
Yeah.
And I maybe you had some ideas and I asked that question.
Some of them in the kitchen, some of them out there actually filming. Who knows? We're all just doing it because, it was rad. It was what we wanted to see. We were watching videos. We're going to little skate shop premiere videos and this and that. And it's like, dude, I want to be on that shitty little blow up screen that your local skate shop did. I want to have a piece in that cut, But it was all just for fun, Never in a million years did I think that like a camera would be taking me around the world. Would be paying my mortgage.
So where all have you been around the world? Because you said Saudi Arabia earlier.
Yeah, so far the around the world aspect is narrow. Saudi is the biggest trip I've done. Mm-hmm. But the nation here, I've done 46 states. Yeah. And I'd say 90% of that or more is because of work. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy to me to think, and it's crazy to my family to think that this is what I get to do for a living. They all have their jobs, they all do their thing, and some of them are business owners and this and that, but it's a lot of blue collar stuff. Yeah. And what I do is still blue collar. It's still grinding dirt under the fingernails, swamping through literally swamps, shooting out in tornadoes in Alabama a couple weeks ago, chasing alligators in rainstorms, but you gotta get what you get. And but it just one day clicked to me that I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I want to stick my efforts into. Yeah. And again, an idea was handed to me and it just grew from there. Yeah. You had to be open-minded for it. And I think that's also the other thing is, being open-minded and willing to take in the ideas or the opportunities too, People ask me on a daily basis, how do I get into what you're doing? Or how did you get into what you're doing? There's no simple one answer, it's, you made yourself available too. I did that. I did it when I was young. Me and my girlfriend were breaking up every other week type of thing. I wasn't paying rent. I was living on couches. The guy that I drove with, I didn't need to pay gas, so I had free travel. Like that was an opportunity on its own right there. But once I got to the track, I was like, what am I going to do? So I started chasing cones. And I was like, well, them camera dudes look pretty cool. I used to play with cameras, this, that. So I started talking to them. Now I still work for those guys today, and that was over 10 years ago. Yeah. And, I put in the work and I put in the hustle when I was young. The determination that it took and the volunteering, and I don't recommend anybody working for free, but, apprenticeship, internship, stuff like that. Figuring out somewhere that someone's going to use you as a little ninja to run and get water and take coffee orders and that kind of shit. Like I hate that stuff, but like I've done that stuff. That's what got me in the relationships I have for certain people and this and that. Now these people, like I'll get homie a coffee without even asking on like the exact producer. bring him up a coffee. But the next day, he's got me a coffee and a sandwich. He doesn't have the whole crew. He doesn't have the whole staff. Like, this is something that's like, he didn't have time to do it, but I do. He didn't ask me for it, but I know this guy enough. Like, this is what they're going to want. Yeah. So I just get a bag of shit, start handing it out. Well, next day, someone else, same shit. It's just coming around. It's
paying it forward almost.
Right. So you got to be able to do that stuff. And you get a lot of these young, cocky dudes that are like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not carrying cases of water. I'm not filling generators. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm like, dude, like, if they put me out on a forklift, you're going to see me working for a full day, or a bulldozer. I'm a cameraman, but, like, if they say, hey, Zach, you're the only guy who knows how to run this shit, can you do it? Like, absolutely, dude. Yeah. Like, yes, I came here to shoot my camera, but I came here to work. You know, I came here to do what you want me to do. If that's what you want me to do right now, then so be it. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so people ask all the time, like, what do you got to do? And a lot of the people who ask me are people who don't even fuck with cameras. Now, I was given the benefit of the doubt when I was a kid that I didn't really fuck with cameras. I mean, I did, but I didn't to a point.
Not to what kids these days do.
Right. And so I was given the benefit of the doubt. But, like, you're asking me now to, like, point you in the right direction. Like, you know, the only direction I know is up, and I can't point you there. So, like, you need to do something for yourself. Yeah. You need to show the world that this is what you're trying to do. I had a stranger hit me up, Ian Countwright, something like that. North Carolina, was just like, dude, shit you're doing is crazy. And he didn't ask for work. He just was like talking about something or whatever, and it got me to want to check out his website. He mentioned his website. And I look at it and I was like, all right, cool. The website's kind of cool. And literally the next day, someone's like, I'm looking for someone in North Carolina. And so I hit him up. I was like, dude, I like North Carolina. And they're like, so you're just going to buy yourself a ticket to go work? I'm like, no. I'm like, you got a budget to bring me out or what? Mm-hmm. He's like, no. And I was like, okay, well, I just met this dude from North Carolina. I've never worked with him, but this shit seemed rad. He didn't ask me for work. He had shit there. Yeah. And he happened to be in the area that someone was looking for, so I put him that way. Now the guy's working with Vonnegut and Jr. and RTR. Like, it's some pretty neat stuff. But, you know, he came at me with a question about something that wasn't directly saying, put me on. You know, he was just bullshitting and, you know, seeing his shit, and it was rad. So
that's why I like the dude Zach that's been apprenticing for me. He came to me. I've had a lot of people hit me up to be apprentice, right?
Yeah.
And the hardest part about it is that it's a continuation of being here, being on time, and all this stuff. And it's like when you go to school, you're in school for months, years even.
Right.
Like, you don't go to school and after the first week, you're like, you know what, I got this.
Right.
It's a cumulative learning experience, right? Mm-hmm. So here I'm like, you know, first step in the shop, hey, guess what? You get to do the shittiest job. It's sanding. Guess what? It's the most important job as well.
Right.
And a lot of the people that have always worked with me over the years, or I've had work for me, a lot of people never in my shop gotten past the sanding table, because how you do that is how you do everything in this shop.
Right.
If you can't push through the fucked up parts you don't want, dude, there's airbrush portraits I don't fucking want to do. It's no different than you picking up a sandpaper and sanding another gas tank. It's just like, fuck, I don't want to fucking do this.
Right.
Same shit.
Yep.
It's just, you think that this is all glory up here, up these 13 steps over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It's all about pursuing through shitty parts of the job to get the end products that you see behind you.
I shot an infomercial the other day for Jacuzzi.
Any titties?
No.
Oh, man, that'd be nice.
Some old dude.
Oh.
And he was fucking hilarious to watch, actually. Yeah. But, it was 10 hours of, like, the same 6 lines. Damn. For an infomercial. Like, you've woke up at 4 in the morning, the TV's still cranked, and, like, they're trying to sell you a blender for the next 59 minutes. And there's literally a countdown in the corner. I shot one of those.
How was that?
Shit sucked. It was the worst time ever.
Yeah.
Like, I hated it. But it was just down the road from my house. They paid me a good day rate, and I got to go home and, you know, hang out with my wife afterwards. I didn't have to go on the road. So it's like, either you're going to work or you're not. Like, do you want the money or... Yeah. Like, I like cool shit, so I wanted the money, you know? Mm-hmm. Do I specialize in shooting infomercials? Absolutely not. But it was literally like a camera here, a camera there, and you just had to stand by it.
And fucking take that money.
Oh, well, right. But it fucking sucked to sit there and listen. I was like, dude, this camera's really rad, and we can do some really cool shit with it.
Yeah.
But I'm just stuck here. Like, that sucks. But, you know, obviously, you got to take the shit.
Being in your position, like shooting all these different types of things from the motorsports world to, you know, infomercials.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about the future going forward? Do you think more people are going to continue to create actual TV streaming content, or do you think it's more like for the smaller, for the gas monkey type shit and those kind of hot rod car type platform videos and shit? Do you think it goes into more production stuff like what you do, or stay in?
Well, a lot of it is production stuff as what I do. Like, I work on the set of Overhauling, you know, and that's like the Gas Monkey, and that's like the Diesel Brothers and this and that. But Overhauling was the first show. Overhauling was the first one that come out that was like rad car dudes building crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then like Pimp My Ride started coming out and like clowning on them, and West Coast, and Jesse James, I think his Monster Garage was out right alongside Overhauling when it first come out, and that was one of the more badass shows. But a lot of that stuff is big production. A lot of the YouTube stuff now you're seeing is big production stuff. You know, there's local to us, Custom Offsets, Fitment Inc., whatever other fucking brand they have like 20 brands now in the one building, and the guy just hires like YouTube minions, and they sit in a little sweatshop and pluck out, you know, badass internet content, and they've created the formula, and it's their YouTube channels. So I always find that there's going to be this one guy that comes up with this great idea that's going to take all the streaming and bundle it into one. And we're going to call it cable.
Yeah.
Because you're paid for all these different streaming services, and you got 20 different charges on your bank account. It's like, can't I just pay one company to just have all that stuff?
Yeah,
we've gone full circle now.
That's a good point. Where can I get Disney Plus, Amazon, and Netflix all in one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes
Cable.
sense. There you go.
Dish Network. Wi-Fi TV.
It's strange, man. Like, and it all happened slow, man.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah, I think a lot of the small shop stuff is larger production, and the TV stuff will continue to be TV stuff. But we're seeing the change where there's Netflix originals and Hulu originals and this and that, like, and then all the different channels that there always was. But they're just, these people have evolved into a different series now, you know, where like I knew these guys who say they work with Red Bull TV, and all they did was produce Red Bull content. But now they're working with one media company that their main client's Monster, or, you know, that kind of thing, where everything changes. You know, like, they're still going to be the same people, but they're going to go where, you know, where the people want them, and stuff like that. You know, like, you don't want to settle for less, and that's something I don't want to do. I love motorsports. I love bikes, and I love cars. The bike industry of me shooting and filming and stuff has just picked up big time in the past year. But I was getting introduced to the people in the industry, hanging out with them, drinking beer with them, you know, and creating a friendship. And that's what's developing. Like, hey, we're going to go to this show for the next 3 days. Like, Zach, you should come through. It'll be sick. Like, okay, tight, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's paychecks on both ends of that thing. Like, you can't just come for nothing. I don't have all this money growing out of my ass to, like, just fly all these places. So the money's coming from somewhere, but it's also created on a relationship. You know, they want to trust someone that they're giving their money to.
With a job like yours and a job like mine, in comparison, the more and more networking people you meet, the bigger and bigger your opportunities become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how many people have you brought on that, like, really want one of your helmets after coming in here and seeing it? And,
I mean, a lot, you know, a lot of, you know, it's weird, you know, it's just, I really don't know how to say it, but like a lot of just growing with people. Like, a lot of people might know my paint work, but after getting to know me, then they really want me to be the guy to do it, right?
For sure,
But that also comes with the next fucking, like, problem. Like, I can only do so much, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the one thing I hate doing is telling people no, especially someone that, like, I've always wished to paint for, or wish that you're someone I admire in whatever genre, field of whatever it is. When they like, oh man, like I would love to have you do a bike. I mean, 10 years ago, I'd be like, fuck, dude, send it to me. I'll paint it for free.
Right.
I can't now.
No.
Well,
you got to pay for this place, got to pay for this equipment, you got to pay for, the entertainment for all the people you're greasing up and stuff like that. Like it ain't easy, and at the same time, it's hard to charge your friends.
Yeah.
But like, there's got to be both spectrums of that relationship where, it's respected. We have what we have for what we do.
Yeah.
And we do what we do for what we, for what we get out of it and stuff. So like, I wouldn't have met you without what I do and I ask money for. You wouldn't have met me if you didn't do what you do and ask money for. So it's like, I wouldn't just come here and say, hey, we're buddies, like, hook it up.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The relationship has to have, both ends of it.
Yeah, it's like one of those deals, like if, especially in the bartering system where, what's even weird now with even bartering to where most shops that ask me to do work for them can't even provide me with more reach than I already have.
Right.
Therefore, the asshole thing for me to say is like, you're actually gaining, and like I said, it's a super asshole thing to say. Well, but a lot of shops that aren't as known as we are, and I'm not talking about your FXR division,
right,
and your Suicide Machine Co's, but the smaller guys, they're like, oh, I got a lot of buddies. Well, if I paint your bike and post it online, the whole world that follows me is going to know about your shop in Sulphur Springs, Texas. Yeah. You know what I mean? Therefore, like, why am I cutting you the deal when realistically I know that there's people
you should be paying me double for doing it for you.
I know that there's people in Sulphur Spring, Texas that are looking for a bike shop to have their work done.
Right.
And I just facilitated the connection because you paid me to do a job for you.
Right.
And it's a very, the problem is that is the truth. Right.
For sure.
It's the absolute truth.
We get to a point in place.
But it's kind of a fucked up truth.
You get to a point in place, you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to fold them. Like,
yeah.
That's it.
100%.
You can't spread yourself too thin, otherwise you get burnt out. Just like you're saying before, you made a post on like you hadn't airbrushed in a while and it was like tough to get back into it and stuff like that. Now, if you were airbrushing for free over and over again, like someday you're just going to hang that shit up and you're just going to be completely over it and you're never going to want to touch it again because everything you did was for someone else and nothing for yourself.
Yeah, you don't have, like, I look at this shop, I look at all the things I own, I'm like, that came from custom paint. Now finally 2 years in, like, the podcast is starting to buy a camera here.
Yeah.
And, maybe this nice little table that I found on Facebook Marketplace.
Hell yeah.
So it's like one of those things that, like, I've invested in this podcast for the last 2 years with the help of our Patreon, the help of our sponsors to help get it off the ground. Now it's off the ground. I guess the only thing with the podcast thing that I'm super stoked to see more and more people doing podcasts now, but if I was being super honest, what worries me about it is those shops that I haven't been able to get my hands on yet, those stories and those origin stories.
And they're getting out already, and they're
getting out already.
Original.
They're definitely not original, and they're getting out. And not that I'm the best at this, but just, in my head, I'm telling myself that, like, if someone does a bad job at that, and you got to think, a lot of these old bikers that have been doing this shit for 20, 40, 50 years, I've been doing it for 20 years. So,
right.
The Arlen Nesses and the Dave Perowitz and these names, they don't really know much about how to run cell phones and websites and shit. They're not going to know fuck all about a podcast.
Right.
So, they're someone that works with them that's hip to the games. I'm like, dude, you should do podcasts. They're great. And it's some dude with their coming in with an iPhone, sitting it on the table going, okay, just lean in when you talk.
Yeah,
it's not going to do their story justice.
No, definitely
and nobody
not.
knows the difference between that podcast and ours and so-and-so's and so-and-so. So
right.
It's like, on one hand, I'm love to see my friends actually doing podcasts, but I'm also worried because I'm a control freak. And I know that if I had a chance to talk to an Arlen Ness or a Yaffe and those kind of guys, like, I'm coming in with notes. I'm fucking like just trying to get the best fucking story out of this guy.
Yeah, well, that's the job of a field producer. You're over here producing your own show, this and that, and it's in the cut. You're right here, right there. Like, if you're gonna do the story, like these girls that get on the mic in front of a live camera doing these race events and stuff like that, people think like anybody can walk in and do that shit. But I've worked with some that have to do 15, 20 takes to get a 40-second drop out the door. Or I just worked with a girl this past weekend where we had 2 or 3 of them go out the door first take. Mm-hmm. You know, like they're doing their shit and getting it out, and they know they'd done their homework. Yeah. They had the questions down. They had everything written down. They sat there and they did the background on it. Yeah. They didn't just like walk up and like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, they have no invested interest. You gotta have the homework done. Like, otherwise you're not going to be good. And that's the scary part, because like I said, I think that any real big production company can pay a guy like Carey Hart to come in and do a podcast and, you know, do the same thing I'm doing. Right. And he has a bigger draw than I do. He has a lot of he's way better at speaking than I am. But, you know, the things that make my podcast or what people like about it is the fact that I'm just like them. Right. You know what I mean? Regular dudes. You know? And like I said, it's just one of those deals. I've invested a lot into this. You know, I have definitely not broken even yet. And I'm kind of scared I'm also, to be completely honest with you, I'm opening up to you. You're like Dr. Phil for me today. Hell yeah. Well, so the other thing is like it's the mustache. Yeah. You're so calming. And the red tone you said here. Yeah, I'm trying to get it sexy in here. It's the red light district. But no, you just I kind of lost where I was going with that. But your mustache, like I'm in direct eye contact with it, and it just took me to another dimension. That Super Bowl commercial guy does away with his mustache. But no, I mean, like I said, it's a weird thing. It's weird trying to sift through all this stuff, and you know, being someone that's worked in a garage, you know, painting, wrenching on bikes, and riding bikes. And then trying to come onto this new or come into this arena here and create an audio podcast, and now take it to the video podcast and like try to make it entertaining. Which the video thing is still like we're on phase 1 of it. For sure. But people are seeing you're having a good time, and you know, in here enjoying our conversation with each other versus just like audiobooks. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, that too. It's like I got the little workstation over here for one day. I'll have me a producer would be the thing that can manage the camera angles that you see me reaching on here. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. But then I want a third camera to catch like the room, and then the TV will be like something that will be able to be brought up on the screen. Yeah. If we're talking about like the Instagram video, you fucking ripping around with the gimbal hanging out. Like we'll be like, check it out, this motherfucker's crazy. You know what I mean? And then like I think that'll bring the full thing. But no doubt, I like that idea. Yeah. At that point, this thing I'll have to have not real sponsors, but big sponsors, because then I'll have a salary to pay for that seat. Not to mention, like, this camera equipment's got it. Not the cameras are good, but I'll have to get another one. You know, it's just more and more shit. You know what I mean? But I mean, look at Hot Ones. Mm-hmm. Dudes eating hot wings, interviewing celebrities, and when it first started, it was kind of a joke in a sense, but nobody knew like what it would become. And now, when a celebrity gets an interview with them, they really gotta step their game up. Be like, who didn't make it? And they'd find out, and they'd be like, yeah, I gotta beat that person. You know. That shit went from a small time YouTube deal to like having 20 people on set to now it's a Hot Ones game show. Yeah. Like, and it all started in a situation just like this. Well, probably going to talk myself into a hole here, but right now there's nobody in the motorcycle industry that I know of that's really giving back to the motorcycle industry. Like I said, I hope it doesn't bite me in the ass, but the truth is that like a lot of people are creating things to put out in the industry, but they're not really doing a lot for everybody in the industry. So I'm trying to bring on you, Adam Sandoval, like all these different people. Like I want to bring them on, share their stories. Hell yeah. What do I gain from that? It's my podcast. Right. You know what I mean? I gain from that. Well, you get the knowledge and the history of what you're there. So I feel way smarter than I was 2 years ago when I started this. Yeah.
But I'm using is the best term. I'm using guys like yourself that are doing things, but you're also gaining as well. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a mutual win. Now, if I did a podcast and the whole podcast went from, you know what, I'm not getting paid by Zach to have you on the podcast, but I am getting paid by Lexan, headsets. So now my podcast all day long is about pushing FT4 Pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This company helps make these podcasts possible, but they're not about Lexans.
Right.
It's about you. It's about the people I sit in this table.
Yeah.
And therefore, when I say that, like, I don't know of any other media side of things that are really, truly with, like, you're not paying me to be on this podcast, right? I didn't ask you for anything.
No, I just flew down from Wisconsin.
Yeah, we went and had some Buffalo Wild Wings, had a beer, and we came back, and I'm like, want to do a podcast? And you're like,
yeah, brother.
Let's do it. Hell yeah, brother. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you're not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm just trying to say, like, I'm literally trying to provide something for somebody, for the industry, for the motorcycle industry.
For sure.
I'm not a person in the videography, photography world, but I dig it. So if anybody's in a motorcycle who's also interested in what you do, as I am, then I hope that place of people find interest in your story. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, so, no doubt.
That's what I kind of, you were talking about the hot ones and how they can see how bigger companies can, like, come in and help put it somewhere else and take it to the next level, where here it's like, I say fag on the podcast.
Right.
Every one of them. I slip it in on everyone. But yeah, it's one of those deals, man. Like, I just wanted people to know that this is literally for the motorcycle industry.
Well, I think you're doing a great job on getting everyone's stories out and getting everyone to hear what everyone else is about. There's a lot of questions that I think get answered on these per each individual that's probably chilling on read or unread in their DMs by some kid, somebody, just down the way. And at the same time, I'll cool guy people on the gram and not answer questions, this and that, like whatever. And then here, if they just sit and watch like it's all chopped up, there it is. So it's the same thing with all these other people. So I think you're doing a pretty rad job for getting the people who want to come on here and want to talk to you and want to share their shit. I think a lot of people's questions are getting answered and a lot of curiosities are being cleared up about different things. I'm sure it's not every question that everyone's ever had for this person, but I'm sure it really just gives everyone like a general.
The hard part about it though, like from a journalist perspective, which, whatever, like it's very hard to stay up to date with every current event with everybody you want to have on the podcast and know, like I follow a lot of my friends that have been on the podcast, but even keeping up with everything they got going on, every story, every post, everything on Facebook, every YouTube video, it's just so complicated.
Yeah, you gotta figure out how to keep your screen time down sometime.
So, I mean, it's one of those deals. Like, what I do sometimes, though, is like when I'm about to have a guest on that does a lot of shit, like, I'll spend, like yesterday, I spent the whole day watching Adam Sandoval videos. Not that I don't watch them all the time, but I don't watch every one. I watch the ones that pique my interest whenever they pop up, and I'm like, throw it up on TV. But I wanted to see what he's been doing lately and what he's got going on. That way, when he came on the podcast, I'm just not
got a good conversation out for sure.
So, buddy.
What's up? Anything new?
Yeah. So are you going to ride this?
What's new?
Yeah.
Everything.
Exactly. So fortunately, everything being here at the shop now, it's a lot easier because before it sucked, man. Like I'd be here working and then you'd be like, hey, dude, I'm coming to town. I'm like, fuck, all right, cool. Well, now I got to run home, set up a little makeshift podcast studio or do it downstairs. And then the next day you come in, you see this fucking monstrosity of wires and cables everywhere. You're like, yeah, I'm going home today. Because it usually requires a lot of beer drinking. So, well, hey, man, I know you got to get rolling, headed out to East Texas. It's 11 p.m. And
I think I got like 80 miles or so to go yet.
That's chump change, man.
5 a.m. call time.
That's kind of serious.
It's all right. I've been in Vegas doing that same shit the past week, so just might as well keep her going, dude.
Well, tell everybody your Instagram shit and stuff like that to find you and keep up to date with you, sir?
Yeah, so if you guys want to see some cool stuff going on, every once in a while these companies let me post some highlights. A lot of the content I shoot is not mine, so you just get to follow and see where I'm at and what I'm doing and figure out how to find out where the cool shit is. They're live and this and that. So handles at The Real Zack Visser, REEL, you know, like your show reel, your highlights and stuff. So it's just the highlight of my life going on right there. Show off a lot of cool stuff. Good one to follow though is my dog, Beano Grigio. He's a little pit bull wiener dog. So I post a lot of him on my story too. So
does he have more followers than you?
Nah, but he should. He definitely should.
People follow dogs before they follow people these days.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, cool, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for shooting the shit here, man.
My man.
Thanks.
I enjoyed myself.
What are we doing? Are we doing this?
We'll do that one.
An awkward handshake. Oh, I petted you on live. Bye, everybody.
See it.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for kicking it with us again on these podcasts. If you want to catch the video version of this podcast, it is on our website, fastlifegarage.com. You can check it out as well as check out our Patreon, which I might be having to live off soon if this virus pandemic gets worse. I don't know. Anyway, check it out, fastlifegarage.com. Links on the front page. Also, link to our podcast on that front page as well. You can check out all of the video podcasts we've done so far. And, you know, I don't know if you want to listen to this again in video form, but just if you did, there it is, bro. Check it out. I also would like for you guys to check out our sponsors. They really help make this podcast go and grow, as well as our Patreon support team. So check them out. SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com, TeamDreamRides.com, BigBearPerformance.com, PaintHuffer.com, FastLife13 for 10% off your order, ShopTmax.com, Lexan-Moto.com, FastLife for 15% off at checkout, and BoostedBrad.com, FastLife for 5% off there too. Oh shit, I got the corona. Fuck. Anyway, fuck. I could cut that out, but I think it's kind of funny. Anyway, you guys have a good week. I think this is 7 podcasts this month already. Or 6 at least. I don't have anything lined up, but I'm going to see what I can get people out here, get you something on air by Monday or Tuesday, and, try to keep this podcast thing rolling strong throughout all this turmoil. So anyway, you guys stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you guys at the camp out as long as these motherfuckers don't turn into zombies. If they do, then this is the plan. Just bring your guns to the camp out. And we're going to go ahead and start our own little faction right there. That way we can kind of like start, our own little, fortress. I'm thinking Walking Dead here. So, you know what I mean? Just keep it in mind. Just fuck with me on this one, all right? Anyway, you guys have a good week. And we'll see you back next week with something. All right. Peace.